Today we are diving into how to start your slow living journey. If you're really at the beginning of this process and you don't know where to start, I am really happy you found this video because today I'm going to talk about really the foundation piece that you need to start this journey, and that is knowing and living your values. This is part one of a 4-part series that I'm creating about slow living, and I'm super excited for it. And so let's jump in right now. So you may have heard a bit about slow living. You're not quite sure what it is. You've been seeing a lot of photos of people on the countryside, making bread, really detached from the modern world, or really just very aesthetic. Lots of people making coffee. Um, and that can look like slow living for some people. It doesn't look like slow living for me. Because every single person has their own version of slow living, because we just want to live a life that is aligned with our values. Slow living is all about creating and building a meaningful life, being intentional with what you're doing and the choices you make, and really putting focus on what's most important to us. But in order to actually know what's most important to us, we kind of need to know what we value. And many of us can think that we know what our values are. I know for a long time, I thought I knew what my values were. My values were family and friends, and that's what I thought my value was. But I was overworking myself, I was not spending enough time with my family, and I was really disregarding the things that I called my values. And what happens when we don't live a life that is aligned with our values is that we feel really disconnected. And that's when we can often feel stress and burnout and just unhappiness. And so, was my value family time? It was. It really was. But I wasn't living that way. I was living as if my value was, achievement and career. And so when I actually switched and pivoted to slow living and truly lived my value of family, then I felt really content. I felt purposeful. I felt peaceful. And so thinking you know what your values are isn't enough. We really need to evaluate what they are and if you're living them and how we want to implement them in your day to day. Because values, honestly, will dictate your decisions in life, your choices that you make, what you say yes to, what you say no to. And so that's why I say this is the foundation. It's the most important part. So now that we've discussed how important values truly are, let's start the process of discovering your values. And I'm going to give you some prompts to try out, and I'd encourage you to maybe pause this video, write them down, or maybe at the end of the video write them down, but really give yourself space and time to actually engage with these prompts. The first prompt I want you to engage with is to think about a time in your life when you felt truly connected to yourself. You felt you were truly living your true self, your true life. You felt content and you felt alive. And what were the feelings other than that that you were experiencing? Who were you with? What were you doing? This is usually a first indicator of the things that truly fill your cup. And it might be something like what I had and kind of why I'm doing YouTube now, where when I was in 11th and 12th grade, I used to love making videos at the end of the year, just putting photos together and putting little transitions and stuff like that. I just could spend hours doing that. And I just felt so creative. I felt, I don't know, it was just awesome. And I kind of pushed it aside because, like, what am I going to do with that? I'm going to build a job around it? No, it wasn't something that I was going to do at that time. I couldn't even foresee that. And now here I am on YouTube making videos. So I do have a certain value of creativity and of self expression. So start thinking about what some of your values could have been during that time. Prompt number 2, think about a time when you felt completely disconnected from yourself. You felt misaligned. Your values in that moment were not being respected. How were you feeling? Who were you with? What was going on? It might be for me, for instance, I was in maybe a job that didn't align with the values that I wanted to really live. So a lot of my jobs required me to work weird, strange hours and on-call schedules and all that, which obviously don't align with the life that I want to live of really prioritizing my family. So think about times where you felt completely disconnected. It might be times in your life where you felt extremely stressed and burnt out and just uncomfortable in your own skin. So start thinking about moments in your life like that, because those also can show you your values because your values were not being respected during that time. And then prompt number 3, I'd recommend maybe going online and looking for lists of values, or you can think of your own. And I want you to just start writing down all the values that you hold. And so, for instance, it might be creativity, it might be family, it might be achievement, it might be freedom. So write them all down. And then I want you to pick out 5 to 10 values that are most present for you, that really speak to you the most. And then, if possible, what I like to do with my clients often is have them rate those values. So, from the most important to the least important. And that'll give you a clear indication of what you value most and in what order. So, for instance, if I value family, but I also value career, they can be very contradictory values because, I might spend less time in my career to really spend time with my family or vice versa. And I do kind of value both, but family comes first. So when I have the choice between the two values, I always pick family first. And so it's important for you to know what the hierarchy of your values are, because that is really a determinant in what you say yes to and what you say no to. If you're enjoying this video so far, I'd encourage you to hit the subscribe button and join the community, because I make videos every week and I would love to connect with you. So now that you've identified your values, it's time to actually put them in action. And I have a couple of prompts for you again. So one is, I want you to imagine your ideal day. What does that look like to you? Who are you with? How are you feeling? How are you living your values? So if your value is family, are you spending the day with your family, for instance? Or what activities are you doing? If you're really value creativity, are you creating things? Are you actually living out those values in your day-to-day life? So envision what that life would look like. The second prompt is to really evaluate the life that you have now. How are you spending your time? What are you doing? Are you saying yes to things you don't want to say yes to? Are you committing to things that really don't light you up and aren't of value? So, are you currently living a life that is aligned with the values that you've noted? Or are there spaces in your schedule and in your life that can be removed in order to have a more value-based life? For instance, I had to remove unnecessary meetings within networking groups because a lot of them were in the evening and I wanted to prioritize my family time. So that's a space where I was like, okay, this way of living is not aligned with my values. I'm going to remove it and make space for what does align with my values. The third prompt, which is actually a point rather than a prompt, is just to really take your time. Again, be intentional and do things incrementally. Don't make all the changes all at once. Do so slowly. Say no to something, prioritize something, reflect before you make decisions, and just really be intentional. And it is a journey. Like, I've been on this journey for about more than a year, and I'm still learning and I'm still adapting and I'm still fighting bad habits. And so please don't expect an overnight phenomenon to happen. It's really more sustainable if you do it slowly. So if you enjoyed this video, then you might also enjoy this other video I've created about embracing slow living in a fast-paced world. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye!